All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been going over the PowerPoint presentations for Murox ASP.NET 4.6 with C# 2015 6th edition. We're in the last chapter, about a quarter of the way through, and we're up to pages 874 and 875, where we're talking about the Razor View Engine and syntax. And the author mentions here the Razor View Engine and the default routing are available when you create an ASP.NET MVC application with no configuration necessary. So when you're working with the dynamic web app, you need some way to combine the dynamic data with the static HTML. The mechanism that does that is what's called the View Engine. ASP.NET Web Forms applications use the ASPX View Engine. You know that because that's what we've been using. All right, this engine uses HTML server controls, and it can use inline binding. You've seen some of this already, where we've done things like this or similar to this. Now, when ASP.NET MVC first came out, which was, I think, like in, I don't know, it's been a few years. It also used the ASPX View Engine, but many developers found that this was very difficult to work with. So in response, what Microsoft did was it came out with what's called the Razor View Engine, which has a more natural type of syntax. All right, so again, in 2010, that's when this happened. So it's not new. All right, it's 7 years old. And as says here, the Razor View Engine has, I would change it not from simple syntax to a simpler syntax that allows developers to easily bind data from the controller to the HTML in the view. Now, here are some examples. When you see the @ sign in there, all right, for lack of better words, this @ sign here, this @ sign here, basically mean that, and this @ sign here, basically mean that what follows is actual code. All right, so we've got the code interspersed inside of our HTML. When you have the @ sign followed by an asterisk, ending with an asterisk and the @ sign, that's a comment that's in your markup. But these are examples here. The other thing that's presented on page 875, as it says there, this presents the register routes method of the routeconfig.cs file, which is located in the app start folder. So it's created by default when you start a new project. So if we go over the project we just created, not the running one that we had here, but the one that we created, and we go into app start, what we should find in app start is this route config. There it is. So it's showing it there, and what you'll notice if you look at it is it does look virtually identical to what we see in the book on page 875. So let's go through it and talk about what it means. The first line tells the routing framework to ignore requests for .axd files. And as they mention on page 874 in the book, this is to keep routing from interfering with the features of ASP.NET that use .axd extensions. The next line calls the map route method, and that sets the default route up for the application. This route method has 3 parameters: the name, the URL, and the defaults. The URL, which is what you see here, sets what's called the route pattern, and it sets it up to, as you can see, controller inside of curly braces slash action inside of curly braces slash ID inside of curly braces. This parameter tells the routing framework that if it sees something like http://halloweensuperstore.com/order/index/rat01, that order will be the name of the controller, index will be the name of the controller's action method, and rat1 will be the ID. The routing framework will then look through the controllers folder for a controller called order controller, and it'll automatically pass it that request. The defaults parameter sets default values up for the route. So again, by default, if we just went to http://halloweensuperstore.com, we'd be sent to the home controller, and we'd be sent to the index action method. And we probably wouldn't have any parameter in there because, as mentioned, that is an optional parameter. So what's discussed next is how to create a model. Then we go over how to create a controller. Then we go over how to create a view. All right, and I think I'm going to take those 6 pages. Each one of them is on their own 2 pages, and I'm going to make all 6 of those pages the next video. So I'll be back with that video shortly.